Hello, everyone. This is the most intelligent and magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm going to do something that I haven't really done a whole lot of while I'm recording, and that is we're going to do one run of Survival Road. And not only will I be doing Survival Road, I'm also going to be talking spoilers for the Quarry Chapter 9. So don't worry, for those that don't want to hear any spoilers for the Quarry, you will be warned. You're going to be absolutely safe from me as far as spoilers go. But for those that want to hang out and hear me talk spoilers, I definitely have a mouthful for Chapter 9, and you are all in for a treat for those that want to stick around for that. And before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing good, and I'm staying safe for the most part. And like I said, I'm just going to do all 8 of them. This is probably going to be a rather pretty long video, you know? Man, I hate the reflect damage stages. I'm glad I have S-Class Tanya for that, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be making it too far into SR. I'm gonna tell you guys, for people that don't know, the 2 tunes that are an absolute must-have for SR, Gold Mythic Zachary and S-Class Tanya. For those that don't have her, try to get them too. You'll thank me later. I could attack, but I just want to be real lazy and let the bleed do its thing. There you go, 1 turn. You can take the AP, that's fine, Governor, but you're not going to be around to do anything. Yeah, I think this video is probably going to be a lot longer than what I'm thinking, because, like I said, the spoilers, I have a mouth full. A lot to say. Okay, there we go. An all-ranged team, so this shouldn't take as long. I know at this point, I'm pretty sure Locke already went over the Barely Hungry event. I'm probably going to go over that myself and just give you my thoughts on it. It doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult to obtain a 4th copy of Brutus. But honestly, I'm just waiting to see if Scopely is going to be real sneaky on that fifth copy, and you got to cough up some money. Like I said, maybe they won't do that. Hopefully, they don't do that. But I would not be surprised if they did that. And the thing about it is, I want to be wrong because I'm over here sitting still thinking that the fifth copy of Brutus, we're going to have to cough up a little bit more money. And I want to be 100% wrong on that. And I hope I'm wrong on that. But I just got that sneaky, I got that feeling in the back of my head that they'll try to be sneaky on that last copy, and we would have to cough up some money for that last copy. It would not surprise me if they tried that, but hopefully, for everyone's sake, I'm wrong, and they actually stick to their guns, and all 5 copies be free to play. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure very early on in the Mythic era, there was an event where we could go after... Sorry about that, I heard Harley barking. But anyway, there was an event where we could go after Gold Mythic Andrea or Gold Mythic Shiva. I forget the name of it, but we could pick whatever one we wanted, and it was presented as a free-to-play event, but they weren't very forthcoming of that information, and it ended up being a pay-to-play event. Man, I can't talk tonight. But yeah, that one event ended up being a pay-to-play event. And it really just... A lot of people got upset about that, understandably so, because they didn't confirm, hey, this is a free-to-play, or this is a pay-to-play event. They should have said either it's a free-to-play or pay-to-play at the beginning before the event even started, you know what I mean? They had people thinking that it was going to be free to play when in fact it wasn't. Because I think we had to, in order to get one or the other tune, I think we had to come in first place in a lot of tournaments at the time. But that's been over a year ago. Literally near the beginning of the Mythic era, for sure. And hopefully they don't pull something like that on this 5th copy. I want to be wrong on that. But it's hard to trust them when they say stuff is gonna... Because they could end up changing their minds at the last minute. But maybe they'll stick to their guns on this. And that is going to do it for the SR portion of the video. I want to thank each and every one of you that if you want to go now, totally understandable. I'm getting ready to talk spoilers. So for those that want to go ahead and go, I do thank each and every one of you for stopping by. And for those that want to stay, I have a mouthful, and you're in for a treat. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. I'm back for the spoiler section of the video. And this is going to be a lot here because I'm going to be discussing spoilers for the Quarry Chapter 9. And not only that, I'm also going to be talking about the harem scarum tragedy, and that's also going to involve the Hag of Hackett's Quarry and this character named Silas. But the harem scarum tragedy I'm gonna save for last. I think we should go ahead and get to the spoilers for Chapter 9 of the Quarry, because there is a lot here. Alright. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, spoilers for the Quarry, Chapter 9. Dylan and Caitlin make their way to the scrapyard. We'll get back to them in a little while. Now, this next part is a little out of order, but it's the least interesting part of the chapter. So I have decided to go ahead and cover this part first. Abigail and Emma are in the basement. They look around, and Abigail, she actually finds some silver bullets down there in the basement. I know I said that Laura gave Abigail some silver bullets. That was actually incorrect. I think she had gotten those silver bullets for herself, Laura that is. But anyway, Abigail finds some silver bullets, and they see a ladder leading up to a trap door, and that trap door leads to Chris Hackett's office. So they decide to go up to his office, and Chris Hackett has this little area within his office, and they stay safe and sound. That's a little out of order, but it's the least interesting part. So now, let's get back to the Hackett house. Okay, the Hackett family have Laura and Ryan surrounded. Constance turns the lantern off nearby because Laura's got the shotgun, and she tells her it's going to be hard to shoot what you can't see. And depending on your choice here, you can choose to, you can either run off or you can stay there. I chose to run off because in this playthrough, we're trying to be as non-hostile as we can. So I had Laura run off, and while that's happening, Bobby pulls a knife out and stabs Ryan in the side. The others chase after Laura while Ryan slips away. And once Ryan is alone, you will have an important choice to make. You can either keep the knife in his side, or you can pull it out. Me not knowing, or me not being an expert in knife wounds and all of that, I chose to pull it out. We'll get more into that later. So yeah, so Ryan is now bleeding like a stuck pig pretty much because I chose to pull the knife out. And, you know, Ryan slips away for now with that choice until Ryan slips in another room. Bobby is heading to the room that we're in, so Bobby begins the pursuit after Ryan, while Constance, Jedediah, and Travis continue to chase after Laura. And just to add, Constance and Jedediah catch up to Laura pretty quickly. Travis is lagging behind every time they catch up to her, so there's probably a reason for that. So, here we go. Laura ends up in a room with Constance and Jedediah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, she ends up in a room with Constance and Jedediah not too far behind. You know, Laura comes in one room, them two are coming in another door, just like that. And again, you can choose to fight or try to run away. I'm trying to be least hostile here, so I'm choosing to not fight. Hey, I don't want to fight them. That was for my first playthrough. So yeah, we're choosing to not fight if we don't have to. And this is where Laura's infection is starting to set in, because both Constance and Jedediah see that Laura has been bit. Her werewolf bite shows back up, and her transformation is slowly beginning. She's still she's still fully aware of what's going on. She's still got control, but she's slowly transforming. And so, this is where Laura, there's a circuit box in the same room. So Laura runs over and she shuts the power off to the whole house. And here's the fun part because of that. Because I didn't figure out that stupid ass puzzle from earlier with the power being shut off, the two cages in the basement open up with Werewolf Nick and Jacob, and Werewolf Nick easily overpowers Jacob and kills him. That's my first death out of all the playable characters up to this point. So the death total is at 1 so far because of a stupid puzzle, man. But anyway, it happens. I'm going to be playing it a ton more times. So here we go. Constance, Jedediah, and Travis continue their pursuit of Laura. She runs off in another part of the house. Bobby is continuing his pursuit of Ryan. Ryan's wound is affecting him to the point where he allows Bobby to catch up to him. This is where Laura shows up to scare Bobby off because he can clearly see that she has been infected. And some of the, depending on your choices here, where you allow Bobby to catch up with Ryan, I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but say if you pull the knife out, Bobby will say, "Nobody steals my knife," and then Ryan is like, "But you put it in me," like, he acts all serious about it. "Nobody steals my knife from me and gets away with it." And Ryan is like, "But you stuck me, you stuck it in me, though. Like, what the hell?" It's not supposed to be funny. It's even funnier if you still have the knife in you and you stab Bobby. He's like, "Ow, that hurt. That hurt. I've never been stabbed before. I'm telling my dad." Or something like that. It's not supposed to be funny, I don't think, but just the way he lands those deliveries with the line like, "Ow, that hurt. I'm telling my dad." I've never been stabbed before, but that's for another playthrough. But yeah, he goes on about how we stole his knife even though he stabbed us with it first. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Laura scares Bobby off, and Laura sees that Ryan is bleeding, And this is an interesting choice. She says, if you let me bite you, that you'll heal, that wound will heal, but you'll be infected with the werewolf curse. So, right now, Ryan has another important choice to make. He can either accept Laura's offer to be bitten, or he can decline it and bleed out. For my first playthrough, I wasn't sure what the right choice was at the time. I wanted to make it interesting, so I chose to let her bite me. I thought I'd make it interesting, you know? So that happens, and okay, you'll heal. Okay, yeah. Alright, now let's get back to the scrapyard with Dylan and Caitlin. So, back at the scrapyard, they see a working vehicle connected to a crane. While in the crane, Dylan is, he's lowering the vehicle down. While he's up there, he sees a werewolf coming their way. So we decide to warn Caitlin by honking his horn. Or you could just lift the car up, but I decided to honk the horn. Because, the werewolf's already coming, so noise isn't really going to be a factor at that point. So, yeah, we're pulling the car up, and this whole exchange ends up with the car being pretty much totaled. But with the right choices that I made, both Dylan and Caitlin got out of the scrapyard unharmed. Well, Dylan can't really... Well, I guess he could get more unharmed. He is missing a hand based off my choices earlier. So, yeah. So, both Dylan and Caitlin are unscathed for the moment. So, yeah, we're getting back to Laura and Ryan. Both Laura and Ryan are both in the attic, and they find Chris Hackett in his werewolf form, chained up. So Chris Hackett was chained away from prying eyes, because I get it from the Hackett family perspective. They want to try to protect their family members, even though they're werewolves. This is going to make sense, so don't worry. So Chris ends up breaking free. Both Chris and Ryan fall through the floor. Yeah, they fall through the floor, and Laura ends up going after them. This leads to the dining room. Shortly after Laura enters, Travis enters shortly after that. This is where Laura transforms into a werewolf for the first time, and Ryan is hiding under the table. I'm not really sure where Constance and Jedediah are at this exact moment. Travis is holding off Laura as a werewolf. Bobby is actually fighting off Chris at the moment. Laura slams Travis against this mirror, and it ends up being a silverback mirror. And this is going to be pretty important. So, we are Ryan once again. After he picks up the shotgun, we can choose to shoot Chris, and if we do that, then that will cure Ryan, Laura, and Max's line of infection if we shoot Chris. And I feel like that's probably the best choice here. Now, earlier, it depends if you were hostile or less hostile, towards Travis as Laura. Since I was less hostile towards Travis, that resulted in them not either both Laura and Travis, that didn't result in either one of them killing each other or Travis just murdering Laura. But I can tell you now, if you chose to be like really hostile towards Travis, it's either going to end one of two ways, where Laura and Travis end up killing each other, or Travis is going to pick up a piece of that glass and just stab Laura to death. So I'm glad I chose not to be hostile, more peaceful towards Travis. That was a good decision. So once Ryan, Laura, and Mac's line of infection is cured, Laura asks Travis, "Is this over? Is everybody cured?" And he responds with, "You think this is over?" Then he explains that Chris wasn't the first that was bitten, that his daughter Kaylee and her brother Caleb got bit. Caleb got bit first. Then after that, Caleb bit Chris and Kaylee. Caleb got bit by Silas. Now, this character, Silas, has been mentioned, and Silas, apparently, he is an albino feral boy. He's supposed to resemble a white wolf. And Silas's design, it's pretty cool. It's unique. He definitely resembles a white wolf. To be fair, these werewolves do look pretty cool. They're not your typical hairy werewolves like you might think of, but they definitely have features of a werewolf for sure. And Silas is really unique because he resembles more of being a white wolf, a white werewolf, and he has red eyes. And in fact, Silas was the same werewolf that bit Dylan earlier in chapter 5, and he's the same werewolf that we could encounter as Jacob. I believe that was in chapter 6. I know it was a little bit earlier, but so yeah. So Travis, Laura, and Ryan come up with a plan to go to Silas's lair to try to go find him and put an end to this. And that's where chapter 9 concludes. I do have a little bit on the harem scarum tragedy, and what that is, there was a fire that broke out like 6 years ago from the start of the game, and the hag of Hackett's Quarry, her name is Eliza. And okay, so I got some detail here on the harem scarum tragedy. At the end of each chapter, you will go see this woman, quote unquote, the hag of Hackett's Quarry, Eliza. And if you happen to find any tarot cards throughout any of the missions, she will read the description of them, and she can show you a possible outcome in the game if you choose to do so. And back in the prologue, there's a couple of clues that show a harem scarum poster on a tree. Then there's a broken cage that says Silas the dog boy. I didn't want to mention that until like where we're at right now with this. And in chapter 9, there's a certain tarot card that you can find called the... I know I'm probably saying this wrong, but there's a certain tarot card that you find. If you find it, it's called the Hierophlyph. I know I'm probably saying that wrong, but if you look it up, Anyway, if you find that certain card, Eliza will be demanding and wanting to know, where in the F did you find this? Where'd you find it at? This isn't supposed to be here. He's been through enough. This certain tarot card is about Silas. So that's why she's acting like this. I didn't know it at the time. I thought it was a random one that, because every one of them up to that point she's read, with no problem, with a really calm demeanor until the Hierophant. I know I'm saying that wrong, but the Hierophant tarot card is the one that gets her to, she will still read the description, but as she's reading, she's wanting to literally burst out in tears. I mean, she is mega sad. Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So this definitely has a connection to Silas the dog boy, the white wolf. And there's literally like a white wolf on it. And we get to actually see a flashback of this tragedy 6 years ago. A fire broke out, and pretty much, it was a lot of tragedy, and Eliza will pretty much walk into the flames to meet her end. So yeah, the Harem Scarum, I believe, was like a freak show type of deal, and that's what that is. And obviously, she's really distraught about that, and Eliza definitely feels like the Hackett family is, that they're these bad people. And I will say, the fire that destroyed the Harem Scarum freak show, I honestly believe it was a total accident. It was started by Kaylee and Caleb. So that, those two, they started the fire, but they didn't go there to intentionally get anyone hurt or killed or anything like that. They wanted to free Silas from his cage, and they figured they would start a fire as a distraction, and the whole the whole Harem Scarum freak show caught into flames. So yeah, I honestly believe that they didn't mean to do that, and that they were just dumb kids that made a dumb decision, and it's a tragedy on both sides, and it's a really good game. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on spoilers for the Quarry Chapter 9. Chapter 10 and the epilogue will be next, so that shouldn't be too long from now. And that's pretty much all for this one. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. Or if you're new, welcome in for the first time. All of you are very awesome, and I thank you again. And don't forget to hit the bell and switch on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. I am Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.